Alright, so we got a banger here by Era the producer called The Rise and Fall of Timbaland. And look, I know a lot of people love Timbaland. I know a lot of people love his music. Hey, can't fault that. But I also know Timbaland got a few interesting situations that seem to get swept under the rug because of his influence. So I feel like no matter what your stance is on him, you have to at least be willing to hear the full story. So that's what we're here to do today. So let's hear what Era got to say.
There was a period in time where Timbaland was on top of the world. He's got a list of accolades as long as my arm, with #1 hits coming out of his backside. But like most public figures, he's seen his fair share of controversy, and in recent times, it feels like he just can't keep away from it. So in this video, we're going to be finding out what the hell happened to Timbaland. Timothy Zachary Mosley, better known as Timbaland, was born in 1972 in the state of Virginia. He showed a keen interest in music from a...
Bro, Virginia produces nothing but hitmakers though. All the bullshit aside, Pharrell, Pusha T, Timbaland, like literally so many legends are from Virginia, bro. It's crazy. That shit is a hit factory.
Young age, and would begin DJing in his teenage years under the name DJ Timmy Tim. Timmy would form a hip-hop group with his friend and rapper Magoo and his cousin, producer/artist Pharrell. At this time, Pharrell was going by the name Magnum the Verb Lord. In 1991, the group would make a demo tape which would stay unreleased until eventually Larry Live leaked 3 of the tracks. It can now be found in its entirety on YouTube, and it's not amazing by today's standards, but it's definitely worth a listen. It was through group member Magoo that Timbaland would meet a young Missy Elliott, and the pair would click instantly. Up until this point, Timbaland was still a DJ. He said in interviews that Missy was the first person that he'd heard singing over hip-hop beats, and this helped him make a decision to switch his focus from DJing beats to making them. While working with Missy and her group's sister, Mosley would meet Devante Swing, a producer and singer who was part of the successful R&B group Jodeci. It was actually Swing who would finally coin the name Timbaland, a name that Mosley would adopt from this point forward. By the mid-1990s, Timbaland was steadily building a name for himself, but it was in 1996 that he would see his first big breakthrough. Timbo would be called in to produce the majority of both Aaliyah's second album, One in a Million, and Genuine's debut album, Genuine the Bachelor. While he initially worked with R&B artists, Timbaland's production style was deeply rooted in hip-hop. In 1997, he took his signature sound further by fully producing Missy Elliott's debut album, Super Duper Fly. The album leaned into Timbaland's experimental electronic beats, and with Missy often rapping over them, it bridged the gap between R&B, electronic, and hip-hop music even more. Also in 97, Timbaland and Magoo would bring back the band and release an album called Welcome to Our World. After spending the last couple of years...
That shit was a banger, I'm not gonna lie.
...working with the likes of Missy, Aaliyah and Genuine, Timbaland was able to call them all in for features on this album. He already knew he could make hits with all of these artists separately, so it only made sense to bring them all together on one of his own albums. The combination of Timbaland's unique beats alongside the star-studded feature list would help the album reach as high as 33 on the Billboard album chart. It would also be certified platinum within 6 months of its release. But what this album did more than anything was showed the genius of Timbaland's hybrid production style. And rappers of the late 90s...
My parents truly banged that shit throughout my entire childhood. She crazy.
...were definitely paying attention. Jay-Z in particular had taken notice to Timbaland's style of production, and he'd get him to work on 2 tracks for his 3rd studio album. The tracks that he worked on were Paper Chase and another track which I can't say the name of for obvious reasons. These tracks were received fairly well, and going into 1999, Timbaland was beginning to put together a very impressive catalogue. This would be something he would continue the next year, as he produced almost all of Genuine's 100% Genuine, all of Missy's The Real World, and he also worked on Jay-Z's Life and Times of Sean Carter. He produced 4 tracks for this album, but the one that caused a bit of a stir was the catchy song Big Pimpin. I've spoken about this in a lot more detail in another video on the channel, but in a nutshell, Timbaland was alleged to have broken the license agreement that he had with the copyright holder of the original sample. The estate of the original composer, Baleek Hamdi, claimed that although Jay-Z and Timbaland had paid a sum of $100,000 to use the sample, their agreement prohibited any use that may damage the cultural or religious values of the original piece. There was a bit of a grey area, as the copyright laws in Egypt and the United States were very different, and it also didn't help that the Hamdi estate waited nearly 8 years to file the lawsuit. Anyway, the 90s would turn out to be a great decade.
What did they do to damage the cultural fucking significance of the sample? Is it because it was... Oh, that sounds racist as hell, bro.
for Timberland, but the 2000s would see him rise to another level of stardom. The early noughties had seen the rise of many pop stars, and Timberland wanted in. He'd start by reaching out to Nelly Furtado for a verse on the remix of Missy Elliott's massive hit Get Your Freak On. Timberland would return the favour by making his own remix of Nelly Furtado's Turn Off the Light. Up until meeting Timberland, Nelly Furtado's style was somewhat innocent and delicate. However, on this remix of Get Your Freak On, she'd stepped far out of her comfort zone and was basically rapping. The pair would work together on a few other projects, but their best work would come a few years later. In June of 2006, Furtado would release her third studio album called Loose. 8 of the 14 tracks were produced by Timberland and his co-producer Danger, and these tracks were absolutely huge.
Oh, Danger, bro. He's cold too. He's a legend too. He signed my homies but they said they did not fuck with the deal they got. He signed them to a really shitty publishing deal. I think I'm not supposed to say that out loud, actually. Haven't they talked? I don't know. I might cut that from the video.
Songs like Man-Eater and Promiscuous shot straight to the top of charts around the world, as did the album itself. 2006 was a busy year for Timberland, as he'd also produced 10 out of the 12 tracks on Justin Timberlake's Future Sex and Love Sounds. This album would turn out to be another huge success, and it included some of Timberlake's biggest songs like What Goes Around and Sexy Back. With another couple of platinum albums under his belt, the man once known as DJ Timmy Tim wanted his own #1 single. So as he did earlier in his career, he'd gather this newly found network of artists and get them to feature on one of his own projects. This led to the 2007 single Give It To Me by Timberland featuring Nelly Furtado and Justin Timberlake, of course going to #1. By the 2010s, Timbo had pretty much completed music. He'd produced multiple #1 albums in multiple genres across multiple different decades, but times were changing and Timberland struggled to find the next Missy Elliott, Nelly Furtado or Justin Timberlake. He continued to work with artists like Drake, Lil Wayne and Chris Brown, but you wouldn't really see him producing entire albums for artists like we'd seen him do before. In 2011, Timberland would begin facing personal issues as he admits that he became addicted to opioids that were prescribed to him following a root canal procedure. He told a men's mental health reporter, "It put me in a great feeling of not caring, of just being free. I'm like traveling, doing shows and popping them, having fun, just being ignorant." The rapper was simultaneously dealing with a prolonged divorce battle and financial issues with the IRS, which he admitted contributed to his reliance on painkillers. Timberland couldn't even
Damn, I never knew that. That genuinely sucks.
remember the exact amount of pills he consumed each day, but just described it as way over the limit. I hate to kick a man while he's down, but 2011 was also the time that Timberland had some pretty weird stuff to say about the late Aaliyah. In an interview with E, Timberland would say, "When I first met Aaliyah, I was in love with her." He then says he should just be a brother to her as he knows that he's way too old for her, but then says that he was fighting a war, a big war. The weirdest part for me is when he went on to say that he basically married his now ex-wife because of her resemblance to the teenager. I don't know if I'm looking into...
No, I'm not laughing at that. Well, I am. I'm not. But like, it's just the way he had the picture. I was just gonna pause to kind of gasp, but then he has this picture. That's actually insane. That's insane.
This stuff a bit too much, but I just think this shit is weird. I think it's kind of made worse by the fact that there were already public rumours about R. Kelly dating the underage star, and of course we all know what happened there. Thankfully, Timberland was able to wean himself off the perks, but his days of producing multiple top 10 albums each year were pretty much over. He still appeared as a producer on some big records, but with his health being his main priority and a certain pandemic coming up, Timberland needed to find a way to work from home. To begin with, Beat Club felt like an amazing idea.
I see where we're going. Well, we know where this is going, so we know about the Beat Club situation.
Everyone was at home locked up during COVID, and Timberland had found a way to bring the producer community together. There were beat battles, live streams, beat critiques, you name it, Timbo was doing it. To make it even better, he was even letting the stream clip channels like CLA Woo repurpose streams into shorter videos. This was a no-brainer as these...
But then he copyright claimed CLA Woo after CLA Woo wouldn't come work for him for like pennies. I forgot how the situation even ended up happening, honestly.
Shorter videos would send new viewers to the main Beat Club channel. Yeah, Timberland got a 25 kill streak on CLA's channel and basically dropped a nuke on it for no apparent reason. Another thing that Beat Club offered was this exclusive members-only club. For a moderate to large fee, you could enter into this club and receive perks such as mentorship, exclusive producer tools, and even placement opportunities. Now, I'm not sure if they still teach this in producer noob school, but rule number 1 is to never exchange money for the opportunity of a placement. Like, what the fuck even is a placement opportunity? One claim is that upon submitting beats for these placement opportunities, producers would allegedly receive emails back declining the beats within the same minute they were sent. This would suggest that there are no humans actually listening to the beats, and instead Beat Club were using an automated system. The ethics of Beat Club were questioned once again when Timberland announced that Beat Club had partnered with Akai to create a one-of-one Beat Club themed NPC that was to be given away to one lucky winner. To enter, producers simply had to pay for an annual membership to Beat Club.
Oh, that's not cool.
So how much are we talking here? Maybe $50?
It's like $200, right? Like $170, $180?
Or $100? Nope. Try $180. The prize was a priceless one though. A one-of-one drum machine loaded with Timberland's own collection of sounds. That would have been amazing had Timberland and Akai not released 500 of them less than a year after calling the drum machine a one-of-one. It was quite sad to see that Timberland had gone from a chart-topping star that built a career off collaborating with new artists to the face of Beat Club, a platform that pretty much scammed the little loyal following that he had left by putting a paywall in front of collaboration. In retrospect, I kind of wonder whether Timberland would have ever seen the heights that he did in his own career if there were internet clubs gatekeeping and selling these placement and collaboration opportunities. Then in a shocking turn of events, Timberland will turn to the dark side. In a creative industry where most artists are condemning the use of AI in music, Timberland will go and sign a deal with Suno, one of the leading AI music generators. Now, I'm not one of those AI is gonna take our jobs guys, and I even use some of these AI tools myself.
Me neither. I fuck with AI and it's definitely useful, but I think there's clips of Timbaland literally saying like like out of context is absolutely hilarious, but he's saying like AI is gonna replace producers. I'm like, what the fuck? I don't have an opinion either way, but it's just like crazy to hear someone like Timbaland say that. Like, I'm not tripping, right? That's insane to hear him say that, right? I don't know.
But I just didn't see any of these big industry producers endorsing, let alone fully partnering with any of these AI companies. Especially not one who built his own career purely around
That's what I'm saying.
Human interaction
That's what I'm saying.
Collaboration. Last year, Timberland even shared a video of himself playing one of his beats with AI generated lyrics. This shouldn't have really been a huge problem, but the voice that he was using was that of the late Biggie, and this led to quick and harsh backlash from fans. They called the act insensitive and disrespectful, with some fans literally thinking that Timberland had lost his mind. He'd earlier toyed with the idea of making an entire album with Biggie's voice, saying he could give the rapper life again. Fans at the time hated this idea, so this Instagram video being posted after the fact just angered them even more. Earlier in this video, I mentioned a lawsuit that involved Timberland and Jay-Z and their song Big Pimpin. If that sort of stuff interests you, then you can watch the full video by clicking the card in the corner of the screen. If you enjoyed this video, then do me a favour and hit the like button before you leave. And if you're still here at the end of the video, then let me know in the comments by commenting "surrounded by idiots."
That's dope. I'm gonna subscribe to bro. Yeah, there's other like legal stuff in terms of like him using samples. That's like one of the biggest things about his controversy is like he's got like 10 cases of him either not clearing it correctly, or just like outright stealing it. So I mean, I wasn't there. I don't know for sure. I just know there's a lot of people saying it. People like to like go after one single person that like has something to say about Timbaland that might not be all positive, but like when a lot of people are saying it and when it kind of begins to establish a pattern of behavior, kind of have to pay attention to that. But let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.